Are you prepared to weather the storm that is the Winter Nexus? Well, fear not, Capsuleer, because after I'm done with you, you will be more than equipped to handle the frosty onslaught. In this video, we will be going over everything you need to know about the Winter Nexus event. Whether this is your first time doing it, or you just need a refresher, we've got you covered. First, we will talk about the general layout of this event and how it all works. Then, we will look specifically into the Explo side of things. After that, we'll dive into combat. And then finally, we'll talk about the very unique mining aspect of this event. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. The Winter Nexus is EVE's holiday season event and focuses around these winter storms that are roaming semi-randomly around New Eden. All of the sites are going to be in these storms and only in these storms. So, how do we actually find them? Well, if we go ahead and jump into the game, you can bring up your map browser, and then there's a handy dandy icon up here in the top left where you can go to Geography and Statistics, and you're looking for metaliminal storms. Click on this, look into your map, and you will see all of these different little storm areas. There is a little caveat here in that all of the ones that you see in high sec and low sec are going to actually be winter storms. The null sec storms are for the most part going to be winter storms. However, there are standard regular metaliminal storms that do spawn in nullsec, so not all of them will be that. But now you know where they are, but sometimes you might be far away from jumping to them. But there's a super awesome little handy dandy way to get to these ice storms, and that is with the help of a few reindeer friends. So there are a number of filaments that let you teleport instantly to these different winter storm areas. You can teleport to the area, do the activity, have fun there, and then of course use the Pochman Highway if you want to get back home to Jita, which we have a video linked in the description below if you don't know about the Pochman Highway. Very handy tip there. So just to showcase, we have of course Blitzen, Comet, Cupid, Dancer, Donner, Dasher, Prancer, Rudolph, and Vixen filaments, all letting you go to either high sec, low sec, null sec, in various forms of 1, 5, or 10 fleet members. And so now you may be asking, why would I go to high, low, or null sec? Well, the difficulty and rewards are in this order, which may seem odd, but is actually correct. The lowest is high sec, and then it goes null sec, and then low sec. So the most lucrative loot is in low sec, and the hardest sites are also in low sec. That said, none of these sites are actually particularly hard. We'll get into that a little bit in the future sections, but I recommend going to low sec, and then the most things that you're going to deal with is other players, so be aware there. But the sites themselves are not actually that much harder. Lastly, another general staple of these holiday events is daily login rewards. You're going to be getting some goodies pretty much all month long. It varies from year to year, but log in every day, get a bunch of goodies. You can't go wrong. Alphas are going to get 1 track, Omegas are going to get 2 tracks, and if you are Alpha looking to become Omega, you can still get all of the backdated rewards, even if you become Omega on the last day of the event. So you're not missing out as long as at some point you are Omega. You'll get those rewards. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the Explo side of the event. These signatures are level 4, which means that you're going to need 85 scan strength, which can be difficult for an Alpha player, but is still definitely possible, assuming you take a scanning bonus ship, maybe add on a few extra modules or a rig here or there, use sister core probe scanners, and you should be good to go. As said before, high and null are the easier versions of the sites, so you're going to see just 1 can to hack there, and it is going to have a green core, very easy to hack. You don't need any kind of bonus or help, or you shouldn't at least. If you're looking to improve your hacking skills, I have a video for that, linked below as well. And then when you get into low sec, you're going to be having, again, just a single can. It's very simple, very easy. This one's going to be a yellow node, so slightly harder, but you're still seeing green and yellow nodes in high sec exploration sites, so these really should be quite easy for you. Some other things to note is that if you fail the hack twice, it will act like a regular can and just disintegrate, not allowing you to get the loot out of it. And it is also very easy to cloak in these sites, so do be aware of gankers looking to decloak very close to you, maybe ram into you, try and unalign you, scram you. Do be aware. Last little thing to note about this site is that your warp-in point is about 15 kilometers away from the can, so a microwarpdrive is helpful. Something that is particularly interesting about the Winter Nexus sites is there is this technique called site surfing. For some reason, this event is set up in a very peculiar way that the signature that you do, it will spawn 20 minutes pretty exactly after it despawns. So once you go there, you've done the site, you know exactly when you did it, you can set a timer, you can set your watch for 20 minutes later, and that site will pop up again. So what you can do is do a few sites, jump another system, do another few sites, jump maybe a third system, do another few sites there, and then as soon as your like 20-minute kind of timer is up, you just go back to your starting point, and then you can go and rinse and repeat and continue doing a bunch of sites around, and around, and it's pretty cool to do effectively. Overall, this event is pretty decent and also a pretty chill exploration event. So you just get your rhythm, you do a bunch of hacking, you do a bunch of scanning. The main difficulty here is going to be those level 4 scanning sites. So try and really bump up that scan strength for you. Lastly, I will go ahead and share with you guys my alpha-friendly Metamorphosis fit, which is strong enough to take even an Artie Loki shot and has enough warp core strength to get away from basically anything. And the only thing that you really fear is stealth bombers with 5 points of scram strength, in which case it's kind of game over for you. So do be aware of those. Now with exploration out of the way, let's go talk about combat. In this event, you're going to be fighting Sancha enemies, so make sure that you bring EM Thermal to tank, as well as doing EM Thermal to damage them. These guys are mainly going to newt you, scram you, and web you for their E-War. And what the site is very simple. You just warp in, you kill a few waves of frigates, cruisers, some battle cruisers, until the boss wave shows up, which is just a boss battleship. He spawns, he's pretty deadly, so do kind of take some precautions, but then again, the whole site is fairly easy, and once you kill the battleship, all of the site's loot is inside him. I would recommend bringing some webs and or some good tracking. The range of the enemies in this site is pretty short, so you're looking at around 15 kilometers max, maybe a few things slightly out of that, but nothing too crazy. For your ship choices, I definitely would recommend either a good combat cruiser, think like Loki or Sacrilege. You could go with a battle cruiser, a command ship, something like a Sleipnir or a Hurricane, or you could obviously go with a battleship. If you're lacking on skills, maybe you're an alpha, but you still want a battleship, a lot of people are using a Praxis. And then, of course, there is always the Marauders. Marauders are going to be very commonly seen, especially in high sec. They are an incredibly strong pick. They have a tractor beam bonus as well, so that at the end, even once they've killed the thing, you can get your tractor bonus, get your stuff quicker and easier. People are polarizing them because they have a lot of repping power, and they can just put out even more damage. So if you can fly a Vargur, or if you can fly a Kronos, those are going to be really good. But do be aware, especially in more dangerous areas of space, that those are juicy gank targets. Last thing of note is do not fly a drone ship. They will tear that ass up. Unless it's something with like a rattlesnake with a gecko, that has seen some success because those drones are incredibly boosted for their survivability. But don't go around flying a Myrmidon because it's just not going to work out. And that's about it for the combat portion of this event. Moving right along, it's mining time! Woo! These mining sites are called volatile ice fields, and what you do, you go into the site, it's only going to let very specific mining ships in. So think Covetors, Ventures, and Endurances, things of that nature. Once you're in there, you're going to see a bunch of rocks that you can go to and start mining. This is ice mining, so do make sure that you have your ice miners loaded and not your regular mining lasers. You mine ice, you get 7 chunks of it, and then you go turn those in to a orca that is on grid and get a loot box for your troubles. And sometimes you can get a rare loot box. Ooh, exciting. And that's pretty much it. It's very chill, very simple, easy peasy. Some things to be aware of is that rats can spawn in these sites, even sometimes dreadnoughts in nullsec. Seems weird, but definitely it happens. So be aware, don't go AFK. The regular stuff that spawns in, you can probably either speed tank or just kill actually with your drones, depending on what ship you're flying. And then people are saying that doing this activity can get you about 85 million ISK an hour. Obviously, with good or bad luck, that's going to vary, but seems pretty good for a very chill activity. Most people are choosing the Endurance because it's going faster from rock to rock, as opposed to those larger ships, which can maybe mine a little quicker or have a little bit more in their cargo hold. It seems going rock to rock is the best thing to do, but obviously you do whatever you want. One last little pro tip is that if you are in a safe area of space, something you can do is actually drop an MTU by the orca. So that will allow you to mine the ice and then drop it out of your cargo, and then the MTU will bring it close to the orca. And then once you're all done mining ice, you can go ahead and take only one trip back to the orca, turn everything in at once, and be a little bit more efficient in that regard. That's pretty much all we got for the Winter Nexus. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a happy holidays. Hopefully you find some wonderful holiday cheer in EVE and in real life. I will see you guys next time, and don't forget to fly interestingly.